Hail them.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
Hailing frequencies. Open.
I don't know why I keep giving alien street food a chance. It's always such a gamble.
Captain, we're being hailed.
On screen.
Hello and welcome to Hailing Frequencies Open, where we are trekking through the past and future of Star Trek. As always, I'm your host, and today joining me in the recording studio in the sky, little did he know that he's the king of our recording calendar, it's Damien.
Yes. Hi, Mike Jones. Apparently, I'm the scheduler.
King of the calendar sounded better. So
I said, I was like, who here is not and has never been a stage manager? Me. Yet somehow I'm entrusted with scheduling our guests.
Yes, because you're a company manager, so
you schedule
Sure,
too.
right? But that means that I can
Schedule's right.
tune out periodically. I'm sorry. What were we talking about?
And who is that voice? She has all the connections to get us guests that have security clearances. It's Lanita.
Ah, I like that intro. It's kind of true. Wild, right? Single degree of
Wild.
separation. How you doing, Mike Jones?
I am doing great, even better now that we're here. And we have a special treat today. We have our third co-host joining us. And we're just now realizing that she is a boss lady with a corner office. It's Erin.
I do not have a corner office.
Yes,
But come on,
corporate
people.
Erin.
Time is money. Time is money. Let's go. Let's go. Let's synergize. We got to think outside the box. We're going to stick a pin in it and circle back. Corporate
my
Erin is here.
Corporate Erin. We should just make a corporate Erin segment.
No, I can't steal actual corporate Erin's thunder, but I am corporate Erin.
Right.
But I'm
You're the
not
real
that corporate Erin.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the last episode of our third season. Now, you might be surprised
What a
because
ride.
I never really organized the episodes into seasons until a few days ago when I realized I should. So
Better late than never.
I never said when we started the third season, but it was I picked a time that we did, and if you look, that's how they're scheduled now, or that's how they're labeled. And this is the end of our third season. And we're transitioning into new, better versions of the podcast very soon.
Yes.
So,
Can you give us like a little history, Mike Jones, of like what season was what, so we know like where?
Yeah.
Where did
Take
we
us a little,
start?
a
Where
little,
did we come from?
past
Retrospective.
retrospective.
Okay, so season 1, the first episode we recorded in February 2017. And at that point, it was me and Ben and Aaron doing an episode by episode rewatch of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Those were great days.
Those were the days.
Those were
And
fantastic.
so that season ended naturally at the end of the first season of TNG. So then season 2 started with a rewatch of The Child in 2019 in July.
Classic.
So, but then we veered off from doing watch-alongs into doing more and more like topic episodes. So season 2 wraps up during the pandemic. June 2021 is when we recorded. I released it in 2022. It's another rewatch episode. And then season 3 started when we introduced Damien as a new co-host. I think he had guest starred before.
I did, and I found that I was not very good at the watch along because I would start watching and forget to talk.
But that's all right. Our entire first season, watching season 1, was just like, oh God, I forgot how bad some of these episodes were. And we were like, what's going on with Riker? What's he doing?
Yeah, it was.
Someone make Wesley stop.
Wow, I thought that that's the first like negative word I feel like I've ever heard you say about Wesley Crusher.
No. I love Wesley. Wesley and I have a love that is true and it is deep. And that also extends to Will Wheaton, because I do understand that Wesley Crusher is not real. But Wesley was, because Will Wheaton is an excellent actor and he was directed to be a little bit crappy. Wesley's a little bit crappy some of the time. And it's just like, oh my God, just stop. Whereas when I was 14 years old watching it. I was like, see, they don't get him either, but I get him.
Right.
We're
right.
soulmates.
Parents just don't understand.
They don't understand. He's always right, and the grown-ups never listen. And it never occurred to me, like, this is basically the space equivalent of like a battleship, and someone's letting a 14-year-old steer it.
Right.
Why
can
did
do it.
no one go, like, but he's a genius. It's like, really? Like, is that okay?
That's-
Anyway, Will Wheaton, come on the show.
Please, we would love to discuss.
Oh,
So yeah,
I
so
feel like
season
it's.
three-
I feel like this is a gettable get. By the way,
yeah,
We got to put it on the vision board.
but right, let's manifest
Absolutely.
that.
put it out in the universe.
Absolutely. Mike Jones, do you remember, when you were doing the watch alongs, we watched an episode. And I don't, it was the one where was it like Pod People? Was it Invasion of the Alien Body Snatcher episode? You made me watch an episode a long time ago. I'll have to find it in the Gmail. I don't know. I don't know what it was for. I don't know if it ever aired. You're just like, hey.
There is one rewatch episode. I don't know if it's the one you're talking about, but um I don't think I think this was before you joined us. We did a recording of rewatching Starship Mine, and at that point we were
Yes.
trying to use like Netflix Party or whatever so that we could all stream them at the same time, but it did not work and it got so messed up. And I tried to edit it and fix it, and I finally just abandoned the episode. So there is a lost episode.
We knew that it was bad when
Really,
at the
really
end you
do.
made a plea for it. You said, and if you like what you heard, and we all lost our shit because there's no way that
There's no way anyone would have liked what they
Give us
heard.
5 stars. We're like, oh, that's it. We gotta stop. We gotta
Oh,
stop.
that's funny.
The lost episode. So we thought instead of having a guest on in our last episode for season 3, we would have just us Goyles and talk about well, maybe like a little recap of our year and what we're looking forward to, specifically looking ahead to as Lenita would call it, the Cadet School show.
Cadet School.
That's the theme song. You heard it here first, folks.
There it is.
You don't know nothing yet, but we'll teach you here. Come on through to Cadet School. You can do it.
Still workshop.
Still workshopping. Yeah, Star Trek Starfleet Academy is the next series that's going to come out. Here's my question. Actually, I don't know the answer to this. Is the Section 31 movie or long trek, I think they're calling it, coming out before Starfleet Academy? It must be because they filmed.
It's already wrapped. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not the next thing that's happening, but it's the thing I'm most excited about. So I picked it.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I don't care about the Section 31 movie, but
Doesn't sound
Listen,
like
I
you
was
do.
I was the one fan who was actually kind of pumped for the Section 31 series back when that was a thing. And I remember saying that, and Mike said, "Oh, you're the one."
Well, there could be some cool things in it. I'm excited to see it, actually. I'm more excited about a movie than a whole series because I feel like there's not enough there for a series unless they turned it into like a procedural, like every episode.
Star Spies.
Right, exactly. Star Spies. So anyway. So yeah, Starfleet Academy. Should we talk about what we know so far?
Yeah, what do y'all know so far?
Well, the big news dropped we're dating ourselves here, but the big news dropped the other day. Holly Hunter.
Yes. Holly Hunter, Academy Award winner, Holly Hunter, as the lead character, maybe?
Well,
Seems like
it's hard to tell. I mean, she is they call her the captain and chancellor, right? So she's like she's like the Admiral Brand from the First Duty. She's the head of Starfleet Academy, right?
Okay, right.
So so all of the faculty report to her, and obviously
so she's the head mistress, is what you're telling me.
Right. She's Dumbledore.
She is Dumbledore.
Mm.
So yeah, what else do we know? So it's set in the
Tilly?
32nd century after Discovery,
Okay.
and we know that Tilly is teaching at the academy in Discovery. Now we haven't finished season 5 of Discovery yet. There's still an episode left as we record this, so we don't know how it ends.
Or
But
how it begins.
or some of us haven't watched the season yet. Um, but the assumption is that she will be in this show. That I thought this would be like the Tilly show. I thought she was going to be the main character, and maybe she is.
Maybe she's the main teacher, right? So you have to have someone to play off of. So
Yeah,
maybe she's McGonagall.
right.
Hmm.
Continuing our,
You
um,
started it.
I did.
It's funny. I was going to like Abbott Elementary in my head, and we're doing
Me
Harry Potter.
too.
But yeah,
I
Well,
thought
and I
that
think
too,
the
but I don't know
difference,
any of those characters' names.
right? I love Abbott Elementary, but the difference I feel like though is that because this is a YA show, right? They're aiming it at a younger audience. They're trying to get
Yeah,
younger people into Star Trek. So that makes me feel like the main characters are going to be the students.
yeah.
A
There
la
need to
Grey's
sure,
be some.
Anatomy.
Yeah,
sure.
Interns.
there you
Well,
go.
here's the language that I found online. Star Trek Starfleet Academy introduces viewers to a young group of cadets who come together to pursue a common dream of hope and optimism. Under the watchful and demanding eyes of their instructors, they discover what it takes to become Starfleet officers as they navigate blossoming friendships, explosive rivalries, first loves, and a new enemy that threatens the Academy and the Federation itself.
The Borg. No.
So,
Uh,
new, the
new to them or new
the
to us?
the Grob, it's Borg backwards. Um,
Ooh.
so I guess my fear is that is this going to be like Riverdale? Is this going to be like
What's
the chilling?
Riverdale?
It's that Archie show,
Yeah.
Nope.
um,
It's okay.
Or Sabrina,
or Sabrina. Yeah, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
because that's the same universe.
It is the same universe. Yeah. They make fun of this genre of YA shows in Family Guy, and there's a moment where there's someone like leaning against a car and it's raining, and the music is like "Sexy Rain," you know. So my fear is that this is going to be one of those kinds of shows, um, which are all like CW shows. They're not Paramount shows, but
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the co-showrunner is someone from outside the Star Trek universe.
yes,
It's Alex Kurtzman and uh
Noga Landau.
thank you. Uh, and she was the showrunner of Nancy Drew on the CW.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
Did we like Nancy
So
Drew? Did you watch that?
I did
I
not
did
watch it.
not watch it, but I did I managed to do a quick Google. And the Rotten Tomatoes score was like hovering kind of around 50%. So it was like kind of mixed reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's got a lot of writing credits. She wrote for a show called Wayward Pines, which was a sci-fi mystery series on Fox.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matt Dillon.
Yep. Didn't watch it, but it's on my watch list.
And she wrote for a show called See, which I looked that up, and it's on Apple TV. I've never heard of it. SEE.
Oh.
American science fiction
Oh,
drama
yep.
series produced for Apple TV, starring Jason Momoa and Alfre Woodard. Like, how have I
Yeah.
not heard of this?
It's like these tribes in this like alternate future or planet, and they're all blind, but they're
Yes.
these like, and then there's like one person who can see, and it, you know, hilarity ensues, except it's not hilarity. I didn't actually, I tried to watch it and I was like, I'm just not getting into this right now. So I didn't. Instead, I watched Riverdale. I don't know what
Right.
I was watching. I was watching very beautiful young people. Very shiny, beautiful people.
I feel like this is going to be beautiful. Everyone who's not like a scary looking alien is going to be beautiful and young, right?
Yeah.
That's
oh,
how
yeah.
it always is. Like, I don't understand why
Yeah.
this is some shock.
Hot,
You're not
sexy
gonna have
young
average
people.
looking people.
No,
They're going to
no.
be 29-year-olds playing 17-year-olds. Everybody thinks that
Right.
that's what 17-year-olds look like.
Yeah.
It's
Strong
Dawson's Creek.
90210
Well,
vibes.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Ian Ziering was what, like 37, right?
Was he?
I think he was.
Look, Perry was on Riverdale.
Yes, that I do know.
It's
For
all
some
coming
block-
together.
it all
coming
connects. We may see more familiar faces in like faculty or guest stars.
Mhm.
Holly Hunter's the only actor that's been confirmed. When interviewed, Mary Wiseman, who plays Tilly, of course, is always very. Oh, you can tell she signed a non-disclosure agreement. You know what I
Right.
mean?
She's like everyone else kind of when they get interviewed about it, they kind of like wander a little bit. Like, I haven't heard anything, but it sounds great. But and she's like,
Right.
"Meh."
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not being sued over this.
Nope.
Right. She's like, oh, you're not going to catch me. Yeah,
Yeah.
But like Doug Jones was like, well, Saru's around. He could teach. You know what I mean? Like, so that could just be the other actors trying to get jobs, which is great. Good for them. I would love to see
hope
Professor
so.
Saru.
Absolutely.
Aw, I
How
love
does he
Saru.
age? How do they age? How do Kelpians age?
Oh, that's a great question.
So is he going to be the Saru we know, or is he going to be? Because how many years after Discovery is it?
Well, we don't
We
know
don't know.
because in Discovery, right? Like Earth is not part of the Federation, and then at the end of season 4, they sort of I don't know if they rejoin the Federation or they sort of like reopen relations, right?
Yeah. Right.
And so it's like there have been allusions to this show being like the first class to go to Starfleet Academy on Earth in hundreds of years or something like that. So this is about Starfleet
Oh.
Academy returning to Earth for the first time,
Oh.
and that this class is like the first to be there. So like from even like, and I'll avoid spoilers for Discovery because I know you haven't seen it, but like we're not like that's not what it's about right now, right?
Okay.
It's not about Earth rejoining the Federation or Earth coming. So like
Right.
it seems like it's at least a couple years.
After.
It's not going to pick up like the next day. Like some time
Yeah,
will have to pass. Yeah.
Right. And that's why I wonder
And-
like how these people will look, right? Like Saru is an alien, so he could possibly look exactly the same
Right.
with Kelpians, they get extra spots or
Sure.
ganglia regrow. But Tilly, you got to show some age. Are they about to give her a silver streak a la Rogue in her hair? Or, I mean,
it could be like 2 years pass. Like they don't have to age her
Yeah.
if it's 2
It
years.
could be.
Like we don't know. We don't know that.
Look at me getting deep into
The other like non-pertinent spoiler is that like my favorite pseudo background characters from Discovery are not especially prominent right now.
That's true. Detmer and Owoshukin have been mysteriously missing from most of this season.
Right.
Not to spoil
So I'm like
anything.
they're transitioning them into being like the flight instructors or something like that. But I think in reality they probably just got better gigs where they get more screen time and talk more.
Because I would if they were. It's not like they were off filming the Academy, you know what I mean? Because it hasn't gone into production.
Right. There's no
yet.
reason. Right. There's no conflict.
Yeah, there's no actual scheduling conflict.
Yes.
Well, now I gotta get on this Discovery watch because I want to know where they went.
Yeah, I don't think it's handled very well. It's just like whatever. I feel like we will eventually find out why they're not there. But and I'm sure it'll be like they had other gigs or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's salacious gossip. I don't know. I doubt it. But so you said something that I hadn't realized, that it's the first class to be at Starfleet Academy on Earth in forever. So you think it takes place on Earth?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
I think it like is. I think it's at the like in the location of the Starfleet Academy that we all know from Booth B and Next Generation and Admiral Brand and the Nova
Mhm.
Squadron and all that, right?
So that's
Right,
going to
right.
up the stakes for everything because it's like, oh, we're testing this out. We have to prove that like it's okay to have the Academy back on Earth again, and that's going to amp up any hijinks that
Mhm.
happens because it threatens to sink the whole Academy.
Yeah, and I
Sure.
feel like it is continuing that sort of like larger story of like the 32nd century when they first go there, where it's like, the Federation has fallen apart, the Federation has declined, and
Yeah.
the burn
And
had happened, right? All these people have like stories from having been in the burn. Yeah, so it's like, it is carrying on that universe.
that's great. Well, and we've also learned that there is a giant set that they've built. The largest set constructed for Star Trek, I guess. Although it sounds very much like the promenade in Deep Space Nine, the way they described it. It
Mhm.
has a central academic atrium that spans 2 stories and includes an amphitheater, classrooms, a mess hall, and an idyllic hallway lined with trees. Um,
Hmm.
so it sounds pretty amazing. I wonder, I mean, they could do a lot with the AI wall or whatever it's called. Um, but it sounds like they've built like a real set, like for this, like it's huge.
That would be
Um,
awesome. Because learning, like I told you, like I listened to the very first episode before we
mm,
started recording when we were talking. Listened to the very first episode of Delta Flyers: The Emissary, and
mhm.
learning that the promenade was actually built. It wasn't like parts and pieces. Like it
Oh
was
yeah.
literally an entire set.
Yeah.
Makes so much sense because when you watch it, the shots you can see around corners. It's not like things are in like these small little squares to hide the fact that there are only 3 walls or 2 walls on the side.
Yeah.
It's the breadth of it is kind of amazing. So if they did that for this, it's going to be great. Like it gives a different level. Like, oh, it's not a scrim of trees and other houses
Right.
out that door.
Right.
Well, you look at like Star Trek: The Next Generation, the corridors. They had like maybe 1 or 2 corridor sets,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just like back up and run
Well,
again, back up and run again, and
yeah.
cut it together. Whereas, an observation that I will, of course, credit the Delta Flyers with, is that when you watch Deep Space Nine on that promenade set, and in Quarks, you're
Mhm.
constantly seeing new angles and new perspectives on
Yep.
that set that you never
Yeah.
saw before because there are so many options with how to shoot it. It's not like
Well,
a small little corridor that you have to redress at every angle to make it look different.
the funny thing about those TNG corridors is most of them were built for the motion picture and then redone, and then they were redressed again to be the Voyager corridors. So, like, they've been stuck in those same hallways for years and years and years. um,
It's
and
like the cave set.
right, exactly like the cave set.
Yep.
For I think it was Star Trek Beyond, they built a whole system of well, yeah, because in that one the saucer section crashes and it's on its side. Um, anyway, they built a pretty cool system of corridors that were like tunnels. Like there's some great pictures of that set. They put a lot of money into it, obviously. But the fact that they're building this much for Starfleet Academy makes me think that they have some real faith in this. This isn't something that they're like, okay, well, we'll let you see if it's going to fly. They're maybe even that could be why Discovery is over and Lower Decks is ending. Is because they're taking money and throwing it into this.
Yeah, it
Um,
feels that
Boo.
it feels that way. But
yeah.
why
Boo
why
for lower
Legacy never
decks.
happened when it was handed to them on a silver platter?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and speaking of legacy never happening, the news that I saw today that Terry
Oh yeah.
Metalis
Yep.
is just got another show. He's doing the Vision, the like I'm not a huge Marvel fan. Not that I don't like it. I just am bad with the knowledge. But like it's like a WandaVision spinoff of the White Vision.
Yes.
And
The
he's the
Paul
showrunner.
Bettany, Paul Bettany,
Yes.
his
Hmm.
name. Yeah.
What?
So anyway, he
WandaVision, did you watch this on Disney?
Yes, WandaVision. Okay. I was like,
yeah,
Yes.
what did
It's
we
a
say?
spinoff of that.
yeah.
Oh, well, that was good.
Right. So yeah, and it's Terry Metalis, so I'm sure it's going to be great. But he's going to be busy with that, so there's no way he could do
Mhm.
what he was thinking of for Star Trek Legacy, the 7 of 9 Captain series, which makes me sad. Like it's another nail in the coffin of like, oh, that's not happening. They're not investing in that.
Well, but the thing is that these Disney Marvel things tend to be like, is there another WandaVision season coming? Like, is that like, or
I
are
don't
these
think
like
so.
one-off
Ah,
stories, like
Yeah,
miniseries?
I don't think there's
I don't
another
think
WandaVision
WandaVision.
coming.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
that
There's going to
storyline
be the
completed.
Agatha spinoff,
Yeah, I was
Oh,
like,
that's
'cause
true.
WandaVision and
Right,
like,
and then
there
we
was an
got
and.
but
the whatever his name is spinoff. I don't know that.
yeah, Vision.
The Vision.
Thank you.
But
Well,
yeah,
that's why it's called
they won't go back.
WandaVision. Okay, sorry, I'm there.
Yeah.
Welcome,
I'm glad that Colby's not
welcome to
listening
the
this.
welcome to the party. My God.
We got there.
Oof,
W-
oof.
We got there.
We just alienated the entire Marvel
Right,
fan
I
right.
didn't.
base
I
that might
love
be listening.
Marvel. Nope. Marvel.
I
I
love
love it too.
Marvel. I like have to love Marvel.
I don't
I
have to.
love
I also
Marvel.
It's
do
just
too.
You're in a Marvel home.
I'm in a Marvel home.
You are in a
Are
Marvel home.
are
We learned
you?
that.
Did you all watch X-Men '97?
I have not.
Did we? That's Sony.
No, it's this
No.
animated series that's brand new.
Oh, I'm not up on the animated stuff. I don't really think Mark is either. He's up on the Spider-Man animated stuff just because he needs to be,
Yes.
but we aren't up on the general Marvel animated stuff in general.
Yeah, they did like they fought the cartoons from the '90s. They did an updated like
Oh my
essentially the next
God.
season,
The next season.
that story. Yeah, and
They
it's like
brought back
very
Gambit.
Right.
Mm.
I mean, if it works for, Full House and Roseanne and Frasier, yeah, just continue the
Does
story
it?
in animation. Well, I mean,
I
it's
think one could
helps.
argue it did not work for Roseanne.
Well,
Oh,
Or
listen,
although
actually,
the Connors is
Actually, no,
Connors
the
is a good show.
Connors one. Yeah, no, what was it? The second once she died or whatever they did.
that's when they
Yeah,
changed
that's when
it
it.
into the Connors. Yeah,
It's kind
you're
of
right.
such
Yeah.
an excellent fuck you to her that like the
It
show
is.
has been like success. They just literally she just dies and they just continue without her with the whole rest of the family, and it's kind of good.
Yeah.
I like watched an episode of it,
made
and
the
there's
show
like
better.
characters who I didn't even really know, and I was like, by the end of it, I was like, oh, I might cry. This is like getting me in the like heartstring spot. I didn't know I had.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
Speaking of
Animated.
sitcoms, do we think this will be episodic storytelling or serialized storytelling? If it is in the
It'll
tradition of Discovery,
it'll be
um,
serialized if it's going to be YA because
yeah,
they got to get tantalized by those storylines and the will they or won't they and
like a soap
who's
opera.
cheating with who and yeah. Like if this is YA, it's got to be serial.
That makes sense. And in that statement I read earlier where it says that they're being faced with a new threat or whatever, that makes me think of, the Discovery issue that every season has some big threat that's going to end the universe. Like that's the
Right.
plot of every season. And only Michael Burnham. can
Michael was
fix it.
so busy. She was a
So-
busy
so
woman.
busy saving the world, saving the
And
galaxy.
he is the head that wears the red angel suit.
Is it the heavy as the head that wears the braids?
But that could be fun. Like, here's the thing: they're building it seems like what they've done is take like the best parts of YA television and mash it together and whip it in with some Star Trek, which could really work because you're, as Damien has always said, it's about the crew, a motley crew coming together to like become a family and to fight the enemy or to discover new things or to work out the problem. And if you've got a brand new set, 5, 6 recruits that are like basically young kids, doe-eyed, ready to go to learn about what the Federation is, and I want to save the world or discover new things, and we get to learn about them, a la the cave episode of Lower Decks. Right, so like taking that and we get to learn about them bit by bit, and it brings them together, and then it's sort of like somebody's got a secret, and their secret, if it's exposed, will do this. I can see it all, and I can see it all working under the umbrella of Star Trek and learning about the Federation learning actual skills, like how to be an engineer. Like Rutherford, like, oh, my nemesis can just, make the, what do you do? Make the thing live it. I got it under 0.5. Mine is under 0.3. Like, I see it and I think it's going to kind of be great. And I hope people give it a shot and not be like, but it's not like the original. Okay, it's not. It's new.
Sure.
It's trying to draw in a new audience in a different way. You have to look at who you're trying to pull in. It's different. Like, these kids are different. They may want to watch it, but they just don't want to watch like William Shatner talk at a pace that no human should ever talk at.
Oh,
Well, and it's funny because we're all in our, early to mid late 30s to 40s, and we want Star Trek Legacy, and
yeah.
the fact of the matter is that is because it's nostalgic to us and it is the universe that we know.
Yeah.
And, the universe, the franchise has to grow in order to build an audience that would appreciate that.
Correct.
In order, because it's a commercial endeavor when it comes down to it. And you look at Star Trek fandom, and they are aging. Sorry to say.
We're an aging.
So we need
fandom.
those youngins to be interested in it, and we need that to be like a gateway Star Trek for them to discover Next Generation and onward.
To wonder, where did that come from?
Sorry?
To wonder, like, where something came from. Like, oh, we'll get the Easter egg. And they'll be like, well, what does that mean? And then they'll Googs and be like, oh, it leads them down the path, a la gateway drug of Star Trek.
Well,
like
and
Lower Decks.
It's funny because I was thinking the other day about like what makes a nerd, right? And we had this whole I was saying this like earlier. I was on a road trip and I listened for shits and giggles to Us while I was driving.
Mm-hmm.
And there is an episode where essentially we all recruit Lenita to watch Doctor Who, and she refuses. And why does she refuse? Because she sees the library of Doctor Who and says, oh, God damn it. If I get into that, I'm going to have to watch hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes, because that is what a nerd does. Yep. A nerd finds something that they like and they go deep.
And they hyperfixate and decide that they're going to learn everything about it.
All of the material that they can find.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So young nerds are going to have to go back into the Paramount Plus library if they do get drawn in by this,
And it's going to be great. Like, that's what I want. I want the kid who's like, what is this? Whose friend is like, oh no, let's try it. Right. And they watch it. And the sneery friend is like in love. And the friend was like, let's watch this, like tepid, but they keep going. And then there's a podcast about them watching it. And then them going back and being like sucked into the entire fandom and then becoming, the, what do you call it? The proselytizers of Star Trek to all their friends. Like,
the converts are always the most fervent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Born again.
Right.
Like Dr. Laura.
I do have a random question though.
Okay.
Like, how in every series there is a new sort of look to uniforms, to costuming.
Oh yeah.
What do we think cadet school uniforms are going to look like?
That's a great question.
They kind of have
going to be tight. They're going to be tight.
Are they going to be like? Are they going to look like the ones in Prodigy?
No, those look like workers at SeaWorld.
Didn't they? Like an orca was going to show up.
Yes, like after my shift on the bridge, I got to do the Shamu show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were bad.
Maybe they'll be like the motion picture. Like Captain. Did you ever see that picture? There's like a picture that has been floating around Twitter for a while now. Stephen Collins, who played Decker, right?
Oh yes.
And he definitely is not wearing a dance belt, and he is definitely pointing to 12 o'clock in an unflattering way.
He's showing some moose knuckle.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Lenita's like, excuse me while I Google that.
No, I'm actually
so upsetting.
I don't want to see any moose knuckle today. Thank you very much. No, I was Googling Star Trek Academy costumes and seeing what what's coming up.
What's
There's
out there?
some Starfleet cadet uniforms. Playing Starfleet cadets, the 2250s, 2270s. Oh, the 2350s look like Picard's era.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Well,
Because it's in between what? Because here again, timeline. After Discovery, before Strange New.
no.
After
This is
After
the
everything.
end.
After
This is-
everything.
Oh, so this is the end.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's
the end. Well,
I mean, the end of
The
the
end of
linear,
history.
the end of
the linear-
known time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
So they really could do anything. I really hope that when we see Starfleet officers, they're
Mhm.
in the Discovery uniforms, that they don't like redesign the Starfleet uniforms again. Like for cadets, for teachers at the school is one thing, but like, when they happen to, because they're going to end up on a ship or something,
Mhm.
I don't want them to have redesigned the uniforms again. But that's just me getting on my, do we need so many uniforms? High horse.
Well, you know who will be happy about new uniforms? One of our former guests. He will have
Sean
to.
Ferrick.
He will have to be like, "Ooh, more for me to purchase."
Well, it's funny because like he started talking about that when we were interviewing him, and in my head like there's a little voice. I was like, this guy's got a problem. And then and then I buy one uniform and I was like, I need 3 more now.
And you realize that he's not the problem.
Oh, that's how
the
it
problem is
happens.
the uniforms. That
Yeah.
I need to have them all.
Mhm.
Gotta catch them all. Okay, so it could be anything. Let's not redesign the officer uniforms.
Unless there are admirals. We all know that every admiral gets
Right.
to design their own uniform.
Correct.
Right.
What do we think subjects are going to be? I'm so interested in this that it's the hand motion. I'm so interested in the fact that it's school. Like, how is that? Like, what are the classes? Who's teaching them? What are the subjects? What are the practicals? What are the tests? Oh, like, is the Kobayashi Maru a part of it? Remember the
No,
dude who
right.
cheated? What did he do?
You mean the dude who cheated
Kirk?
the Kirk?
Right.
No,
you mean
Captain
Captain
Kirk?
no.
Whatever happened to that guy?
Jimmy!
If anyone accuses us of
Captain
gatekeeping, we're going to be like, no, we got
James
her on the podcast.
Tiberius Kirk.
Oh my goodness. There was an episode where somebody was mad because somebody died and it was that person's fault. Oh, this is where I say to you, like, I just don't know anything. It's all in my head in this weird order. Okay, continue on. What are the classes? What are we teaching them? I'm gonna figure what I want to actually ask out right now.
You might be thinking of First Duty, the episode where Wesley is at the academy and he's a part of Nova Squadron, and one of the members dies, and then they find out that Nick Locarno kind of pushed him into doing this stunt. That's what you're thinking of.
And that is why, Mike Jones, it's your podcast. Thank you.
Wow.
Yes.
Mhm.
Wow. It's the
Yeah.
knowledge of the canon
Distracted
and the
that.
ability to read a mind. All it-
Yeah.
I gave
Yeah,
him a
it's like,
lot of good
it has nothing to do
information.
with Kobayashi Maru. It has to do with them doing an illegal stunt.
Right.
Correct. But I told you someone
and somebody
died.
Okay.
And
Somebody
someone died.
I gave him all of the necessary information. You all just aren't smart enough. It's only Mike Jones.
I own it. That's fine. I
That's-
just found the photo of Stephen Collins in question, and I'm like, oh,
Ooh, ooh.
disturbed.
I think the
Yeah,
subjects, to get
Mhm.
away from Stephen Collins's package, I think the subjects,
Stephen Collins is a sex criminal, to be clear, so we should not
Well,
be
yeah.
objectifying him. Yeah. Okay.
No, it's
Yes.
absolutely like I found the photo, and underneath the article is WTF
Tried.
actor Stephen Collins, Seventh Heaven confesses to child molesting.
and they
Yeah.
used that picture.
That's the photo.
The
Oh,
weapon in
God.
question was this small upward
Oh.
pointing.
No,
Wow.
Anyway.
no. Okay, yeah, that's unfortunate.
What are the
So-
what are the subjects? What are the subjects?
What are the subjects?
I feel like we won't see too much of them, but when we do, there could be flight training, there could be phaser range training, but then also like xenolinguistics and
Archaeology.
history, archaeology. Yeah.
Yeah, some pretty
Um,
intense physics.
right. Yeah, engineering.
But I feel like there's
Engineering.
gonna be some humanities too, because like Starfleet wouldn't let people graduate without
Oh,
like
diplomacy,
diplomacy.
philosophy,
Is there a theater
understanding the
class?
history of civilizations.
Are we gonna see some type of like exam? Like, you know how in Men in Black, how there was like they were all invited to the building and then they had to go through like testing to see if they could
Oh yeah.
possibly put on the suit, and everyone's shooting up all the monsters and Will Smith just shoots the little girl. It was like, what are you doing? He's like, it is way too late. Those books are too advanced for her. That dude is just working out. That dude over there isn't snarling. He's got allergies. Look at the tissue. Like, I wonder if there will be sort of like a psychological evaluation based disc assessment of
Absolutely.
Oh my god, don't say disc assessment. No. um now I'm triggered. No, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of TNG season 1, an episode called Coming of Age, where Wesley Crusher takes his like entrance exam to Starfleet Academy for the first time, and someone else gets it instead of him, right? But he has this like simulation where all of a sudden he's the only person in the room. There's 2 people that need their lives saved, and one is uncooperative, and he has to leave him behind. He has to choose to let somebody die to save somebody else.
Wasn't that the Kobayashi Maru?
No, it was the one with the man with the. I'm looking at the picture. That's what I know. The one with the little breathy apparatus.
Oh, that
Yes,
one, that one, that one. Yeah, no. The 2 people who I'm thinking of something else.
Right.
Yep.
And there's all these, there's constantly all these tests where like there's the guy with the webbed finger who hates manners, and then Wesley's like, you bumped into me, asshole, right?
Yep.
Right. So there's like all of the whole episode is like peppered with these little psychological tests which lead up to the like they call it the psych test, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, this is because my Captain Picard had to choose and my dad died and all that, right?
Yeah. But I took the psych test as the Kobayashi Maru because he was put in an unwinnable situation and he had to make a choice. And either way, someone would die. But could he make a choice, or would he be paralyzed by it? But maybe that isn't actually maybe that's a totally different test. Maybe
it's a different test because the Kobayashi Maru is like a specific. There's a ship named Kobayashi Maru that has a distress call. Yeah.
In my mind, I always assumed they were the same thing, but you're absolutely right.
I think that in fandom, especially, the term Kobayashi Maru has evolved to mean a no-win scenario.
Yes.
Like, even though in the world of Star Trek, I think that it probably is a specific reference to that one test that happens at the Academy. But so I understand your that was a Kobayashi Maru for
because
Wesley.
they put Troy through that for her commander exam.
Right, she has to send Geordi to his death.
She had to send Geordi to his death.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it was a simulation.
It was like on the holodeck, but she kept failing this simulation and failing it, and then she went off and did something and came back, and then she realized, and she was like, sent Geordi in, and then the simulation ends and it tells her she passed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good call. I forgot that. Yeah.
It's a good episode.
What's the name of this episode?
Oh, I asked one of them.
No,
I think that's the B plot of the episode too. I don't even think that's the A plot.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, she's like it's like a B or a C plot. Like, but I just it always stuck out to me because it was this whole thing about how she wanted to she wanted to pass the commander test so that she could take the bridge if needed.
Thine Own Self?
I think it's Thine Own Self. Yeah.
And then she crashed the Enterprise a few times.
Which is
but at least one of them was not her fault.
Oh my gosh, did you see? I may have shared this that someone released a deleted scene from Star Trek Picard season 3 where she goes to take the helm and Geordi's like, Deanna, are you sure you want to do this? You've crashed the Enterprise twice.
And she's like, third time's the charm.
Yeah. It's like, so she comes off so flippant, and Geordi comes off as like kind of a dick. I'm like,
right.
Like,
it's a
we've
good
proven you
slice.
can't drive.
It's a good cut.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Um,
also like the saucer section was crashing anyway. She just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how
happened
you're
to be.
defending it. You're like, I'm going to.
I'm
Just
totally
let her-
defending it.
Right.
Like, it really wasn't her fault. It was going to.
Well,
happen.
she effectively crash landed as it was designed
Mhm.
and saved lives. Like it didn't like crash nose first and everyone died. She navigated it to glide and crash the way it was designed to crash.
I
So
support that statement.
there.
I support
there.
that statement.
So
All you Troy haters, listen
my
up.
The haters gonna hate.
so pardon my ignorance, but
Mhm.
relating Starfleet to the real world military, there
Okay.
is there's like an army academy, right? Is that
Well,
a
there's
thing?
West
There's
Point.
West Point.
That's for
There's
Right.
yeah.
there's
There are many
there's
of them.
Annapolis.
Yep,
There's the
that's the
Naval
Navy.
Academy in Annapolis.
So there's more than okay. So each
Yes.
branch has their own. But
As
Yes.
yeah, their own sort of like marquee. I don't know what it would be for the Air Force.
I don't know.
maybe
what the
they
Air
don't
Force
I
have
don't
one.
know. But I think Army
There's
and
the Air
Navy
Force
are like
Academy. Yeah.
Because
yeah,
they
there's
have
the Air
a
Force,
football
but
game
like
every
you don't
year.
think of it as like a college. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
like
Like
Annapolis
people
is a
go to
college.
Annapolis and people go to West Point and they go to it for like a career in the military, but like you don't think about going to the I don't know. I don't think about the Air Force
I
Academy
think
as
they
like
have a
four-year
college
school.
football team.
Well, they
The Air
That's
Force
how
probably
I know.
Academy?
Yeah,
This is I'm
Yeah.
gonna
It's
get
Army.
so much
It's
flack
Army
for this.
Navy games. There's not Air Force games. Air Force.
I know
Oh
that's
my
a
Yeah.
that's a big
I-
deal.
Army
this
Navy
is
is huge.
ridiculous. I know that the Air Force because Notre Dame used to play Air Force.
Okay,
Oh,
so
really?
the
Yes,
Air
and I
Force
grew up in that
Academy is
family
in
that cared.
it's in Colorado.
Okay.
The Air Force one?
United States Air Force Academy. I may be. Why is the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs? You are correct, Damien. We stand corrected.
Mhm.
These are
What
questions
about the
that we can.
Marines?
These are questions that we can ask Colonel Brief Rams. Was there an Air
That's
Force
true.
Academy? And she could be like, "You can Google that."
Exactly.
That's true.
We're not gonna do that.
Right. But so I guess two-part question. And this is really just me not understanding how the real world military works. But I know that you can enlist in the military.
Correct.
And
Mhm.
in Starfleet, there's also like enlisted people on board who aren't
Mhm.
who have different uniforms or that don't have any pips or however it's being addressed in that series. Um, O'Brien is an enlisted man, right?
Correct.
He has
Yeah, I mean,
different
like he
pips.
didn't go to the academy. Yeah,
Right. So what's the advantage of going to the academy?
because you can have like you're just crewman or chief. Like he's a like he O'Brien will never be an ensign or a lieutenant or a commander. He'll never like.
So
there
it's just rank.
Yeah, but there's also multiple ways to get into like regular military, right? Like if you
Yeah,
have a
you don't-
college degree, you go in as an officer. So the +1 went in as an officer. There was
Oh.
no enlistment. Like enlistment is like you're going to be like front line. You may be right out of high school, but if
Mhm.
Yeah.
you have a degree in like say nursing or doctor, you are an officer. So you start as an O1.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. You also have to go to officer training. But like when you're in, we'll call it military school, like if you go to West Point, when you graduate, like you have a certain rank and you can go to officer school or you can enlist. Like it's up to you, like
Yeah.
what track you want to be on, like because there not going to be any like officers doing Humvee maintenance. Like officers are medical. I feel like I should call the +1, but
It's more like leadership roles.
correct.
So okay,
There are
well that makes
5
sense. That makes
military
sense.
academies in the United States.
Good job.
Thank you. And they are
Annapolis.
The Air Force Academy,
Yep.
the Military Academy, the Naval Academy, the Coast Guard Academy, and the Merchant Marine Academy.
Oh,
But that's
Oh.
Merchant Marines, not Marines. Marines
So-
go to the Naval Academy. When you graduate from the Naval Academy, you can go into the Navy or you can go into the Marines.
Yeah.
But the Merchant Marines are different.
sure.
The
It's
Marines have
interesting
the
that
best
there's
dress
a
uniforms.
oh they do. It's interesting. Although the Space Force dress uniforms are very nice.
Yeah,
But
once we have a
Fair.
Space Force Academy, we basically have a Starfleet Academy because it's the same freaking logo.
right.
That's going to be
Um,
exciting for all of us.
we're gonna have to talk to Colonel Fram about that. But so I guess my the background of my thought was in the real world military, your rank doesn't just determine if I could be wrong about this, but I think it also determines your salary level.
Oh, I'm
And
sure. Yeah.
in
Absolutely.
the Star
Your
Trek world,
BOH,
The quality of
your
your housing.
salary. Correct.
right.
Correct.
So in the Star Trek world, in a post-scarcity society, I'm just trying to figure out why one would go to an academy when you could also get on a starship and explore the galaxy by just being like, "Hey, I'm going to do this," and enlist.
Because you could get better quarters and more responsibility.
Well, and yeah, we find out in Lower
And cuter
Decks that
uniforms.
and cuter uniforms. Got it. Okay. Thank you for explaining that. to
Okay,
me.
that was simple. Thanks so much.
Well, and
ac-
in the
Go ahead,
real
sorry.
world military academies, what kind of courses do they teach? I mean, are you learning, is there like English lit and math, or is it all
I mean, if you go like
Well-
for high school, like yeah, you got to actually get like a education.
right?
So if you are, for example, going to Kings Point, New York for the Merchant Marine Academy, students participate in core courses offered by the Academy. Midshipmen can also choose from 5 programs, which include marine transportation, maritime logistics and security, marine engineering systems, or marine engineering and shipyard management.
Wow,
So yeah,
Fascinating.
Wow.
that's
I don't think I
intense.
know what merchant marines are.
The
they
Marines of the
are.
merchants.
They're not marine, they work like they're working maritime stuff. So like working the ships, but not being military per se.
Oh,
Like,
but military
but
ships.
they have to either do 5 years in one of the other armed services, or they can work as a merchant marine for, I think, they can work for 5 years, but then they also have to serve 8 years as a reservist for any of the other branches.
Oh,
So it's like the merchant marines are sort of like they're
Swiss Army knives.
part of the military, but they're kind of not like the merchant
Mm,
marines don't go to war.
right.
I don't really
I'd wanna be one
understand
of
it
those.
though.
Well, I looked up West Point's departments, which you can
Yes.
go into, like you can major in
Okay.
behavioral sciences and leadership, chemistry and life
Mhm.
science, civil and mechanical engineering, that gets paid, electrical engineering and computer science, English and philosophy, foreign languages, geography and environmental engineering, history, law. That's where you get your JAG lawyers from.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
Mathematical sciences, military instruction, physical education, making them strong, physics and nuclear engineering,
Mm.
social sciences, and systems engineering. So it's like truly learning.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
a
it sounds like
Yeah.
everything but literature.
no, that was in there.
No,
Oh, that was in
literature.
there?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
super competitive to get into these schools. Like when you
Yeah,
look at the
yeah.
percentage of applicants accepted, and in order to go to one of them, you have to be nominated by like your senator or your local representative. Like you can't even just apply. You have to get someone to like sponsor you,
Wow.
essentially.
I want to be
Yeah.
an aeronautical engineer.
An aeronautical
You can
engineer.
you can minor in that. Minor in American foundations.
Getting
God,
back
my
to
college
that,
education sounds very frou-frou compared to this.
right? I know there's no theater majors at the military academies.
Zero.
No.
Absolutely none. This is all smarts.
It's all
I went to
right,
West Point and I majored in liberal arts.
right.
Nope.
I mean,
Nope.
I thought for sure Dr. Crusher at least minored in theater. Um,
She
at
did
the
community
academy.
theater. She did
Right.
community theater,
Correct.
but like the really good kind.
They had a budget.
That's funny.
For sure. For sure.
No,
So-
I do. Go ahead.
No, there's an episode of Star Trek Discovery in season 4 that I wonder if it was almost done as a potential model for this show. Season 4 is called All Is Possible. And Tilly an Adira lead a team of Starfleet Academy cadets on a training mission that takes a dangerous turn. Right?
Yes.
So you're like, is that episode kind of the model, right? Like though it's very sort of teacher focused on Tilly, right? But it is like, in each of these, I think there's like 4 students. One of them is Adira, has like a sort of breakdown, build you up kind of moment, and
there's
saves the
Green
day.
Goo. Yeah, I'm looking at the pictures. Yeah, I remember that episode. That was a good episode.
It's a good episode. That's what makes me think that she is really the main character, but but I'm basing that on that episode.
Well, she could be the main
show.
teacher.
That's what I mean.
Like, you know
She's
how those shows
McGonagall.
tend to have, they tend to have like a teacher or two who like loom large.
Yeah, she's the Debbie Allen.
But the stories tend to follow.
Right.
The Debbie Allen. Oh my gosh, fame.
The Debbie Allen.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Like,
dating myself.
If she's McGonagall and Holly Hunter is Dumbledore, then the young people we don't know are Harry, Hermione, and Ron. Like those are the main characters.
Yeah.
Right.
Got it.
That's what I mean. It's gonna be, I'm telling you, it's gonna be cool that somehow they're all gonna show up wide-eyed and ready to learn about Starfleet. And each of them is going to have a different perspective of what a Starfleet officer is. That's going to be the conflict, and then they're going to have to learn, or someone's going to be rooming with somebody. They're going to have to learn how to get along and how to navigate this new world together. It's going to be the first time they're on their own. Like,
it's
in a lot of ways,
world.
it's going to be a little bit
Remember a
like
different
Lower
world.
Decks, though.
That's what I mean.
Because it's
I
like
wonder
you
if that's
have
part
the
of the reason it's going
crew.
away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and Prodigy. I mean, it's a little bit like Prodigy. Like they're these young, like the first season ends with them going into the academy with Janeway as their teacher.
I watched it and finished it, and it wasn't as terrible as it started off being.
Wow,
Well,
that's your
high
review
praise.
of Prodigy?
That's terrible.
No,
High praise.
it just didn't. I wasn't the audience.
Sure.
And so I had to push through because I could not see myself. Again, another thing I think about Star Trek is that somehow you can see yourself or a part of who you are as a complete human in each of the characters. Like you can see something you want to be or to strive to be, or you can see yourself reflected in a choice that someone is making in a situation. Prodigy, I didn't see anything that I'm like, okay, stranded on a planet, mining stuff. He doesn't know who he is. Okay.
It does start pretty abstract. It's not
It does.
accessible in the beginning.
And so I powered through, and I'm happy I did, because I came to really like the characters. Merv is my favorite.
Yes.
Absolutely, utterly, totally want a little toy of that squidgy little worm turning into that ninja eye dot.
So you like aliens that squeak?
He was so fun.
Like Moopsy.
Like Moopsy, like Tribbles.
Hello.
What's not to love?
Well,
I stay true.
And here's a question, because we do have 2 panelists here who are parents. Do you feel like Prodigy or any of these shows actually are kid accessible, or what age group would watch that? Is it a viable on ramp to Star Trek?
Aaron has to go because I have a young weird kid who's never gonna be interested in anything that doesn't have animals in it. So,
well,
Murph.
Well, animals are great.
Not an animal.
So my guy's 12.
Oh my gosh.
And
he's 12.
I know. Like Joan.
Preteen.
The little 1-year-old who stood on your lap and took your glasses off your face going, I need this.
Right.
Oh.
He was like, I'm terrified.
I was like, ah.
We were like, no, John.
I'm a little better with kids now.
He loved you. He thought you
did.
were great.
Good. It's a
Um,
great kid.
it's hard for me to say just because my son doesn't really like he doesn't do a lot of episodic stuff.
Yeah.
And what he does, and I don't know if some of this is a generational thing because I don't know if he's late Gen Z or if he's technically Gen Alpha, but whatever he is
that what they're
big
called
on,
now?
Yeah, Gen Alpha. Yeah.
Gen Alpha. And they're like their own species. And he's big. Now, some of this could be his ASD, but like repetition is so huge. So he'll watch the same things over and
Does he
over.
rewind it
Sometimes
back?
the same clip. Yeah.
Yeah,
He'll
rewind it
watch
back.
to hear it again, to see the scene again. And he'll watch the same episodes over and over. And he'll watch, like, he'll bring the iPad around with him and put it down and just be sitting there playing it while he's doing other
Aaron
stuff.
knows my life. Oh, Aaron
Yeah.
knows my life.
Yeah. He's 12 and he's still doing it. So I think that it's something,
there's
and
my
like,
road.
I feel like other kids do that too, because a lot of their humor and a lot of stuff I see, it seems to be based in repetition, and everyone just, I don't know, like finding the same weird little thing and everyone clinging to it and watching it and repeating it over and over, like the skibbity toilet stuff. It's like they're all watching the same thing and they're watching it over and over in the same jokes. But for some reason, whereas for me, the more times I hear it played, the less I have will to live. For them, the more times they hear it, the funnier it gets.
The funnier it
Are
gets.
these like short clips? Is it like
No.
TikToks or is it like?
Oh, well,
It
I don't
can,
know if it's
it
for
can
him.
be. It can be, but
He
like
has
they're like
TikTok? Oh,
20-minute, 30-minute episodes of things. Like
Oh,
I mean, the thing that my son likes to really watch is like Monsters at Work. He thinks Monsters at Work is hilarious.
What is that?
It's Monsters Inc.
it's a
But they
it's on
made
Disney
it into
Plus.
a series. Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah,
But he likes stuff like that. Like he'll
Yeah.
watch stuff
'Cause
like
that's
that
funny.
right now.
No, like
Yeah.
my kid is
But
watching.
that stuff is
It's a bit rough. Here's the thing: is that like, I think that well, number one, as we all know, I don't like the dictator watch freaking shooting and guns, and I know they're phasers and they're different. However, they still go pew pew pew. So
Sure.
I am still on the train of, if you don't have to watch something with a gun in it, I will be very happy about it. Unfortunately, he found Looney Tunes, so
Sure.
I sort of
they use dynamite.
Yeah.
But there's nowhere to find stick
big old
dynamite, so I'm
shotguns.
safe. But I kind of wish for him, I feel like maybe in like 4 5 years, like in the 11 12, like see if I can pry him into some type of sci-fi different. But he likes what he likes, and he likes animals, and he wants to watch everything that is animal or that has some type of animal in it, whether it be a cartoon or live. And he's, like Aaron said, he's rewinding it back. I'm like, let it, and here my favorite, I'm a broken record, let it play, Bubby, let it play, because I hear the same 15 seconds of dialogue 600 times, and on the 601, it is a literal just knife to my head, and I have to be like, let's find another episode, because I can't listen to that.
Yeah.
And you want to be inclusive, you want to encourage them, but you got to turn.
Yeah. No, you all are laughing because you think we're exaggerating, but if you hear the same thing over and over and over and over and over, you actually can die from it. You can die from it.
And sometimes I do feel, I'm telling you, from the other room, people laugh. I'd be like, find something else to watch. Let it play.
We'll be in there. We're like, he's doing it again. He's doing it again.
Heaven forbid you get to an episode.
How many times are we going to watch Blippi? No more Blippi. My son is too old for Blippi now, but like Blippi.
He is a hateful man, and I don't like him. I mean, and you just don't get to the end of the episode. If I start to watch it, I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. I won't get to see the last 2 minutes because he's on to something else. I never know what happens.
Oh.
Yep.
I'll never
know.
Does
he watch Bluey? Bluey is cute.
He does sometimes. I've started rewatching Bluey.
Bluey is sweet.
Yes, it's sweet. He doesn't want sweet. He wants
Oh.
he wants
Rewatching
me
Bluey.
blue. It's really cute. They're like little 8-minute episodes. Here's the
Oh,
thing.
are they?
Sometimes you just have to have like a palate cleanser. And watching
Hmm.
Australian sheepdogs, play the freeze
Who are
game.
wrestling with very adult issues
Yes.
in a very child friendly, like they're dealing with issues of just like being mad at your kids and needing alone time. They're dealing with loss. They're dealing with anxiety. They're dealing with all these big things, but they're doing it in like this very human and age appropriate way.
Mm.
But like, it's kind of like Sesame Street where every episode is happening on two levels. There's the
Yep.
level for like the 4-year-old who's watching it. It's like, Blimey! And the other level is for the adults who are watching this and like dissolving into a puddle of tears because they feel so fucking seen by a cartoon for children.
An
You're just
Australian
like,
goddamn dog. But
she's just like she just wants to take a walk on the beach. she just wants to take a walk, and her husband is being so supportive, and he's saying sometimes Mama just needs to take a walk.
Oh my God.
not exaggerating. That's exactly what
That's
it feels
literally
like.
an episode.
Literally what it feels like. You're just like, okay.
Like, I'm not a bad mom. I'm not a bad mom. Because Bluey's mom does the same
She
thing.
needs a break too. And you come back and you love them even more. See, y'all
Yeah.
ask about kids. I don't know. I think that there are kids that this is for. I think this is for the Minecraft kids. This is for the kids who are already into sci-fi and fantasy. I think they'll be like, yeah, sure, I could jump in. Like I don't know how you get it to them though, because these kids are attached to devices and they don't watch network TV.
But they're
Right.
not afraid of being nerds.
Nope.
Like the
Oh, yeah.
stigma of being a nerd is just not even a
Nope.
factor.
They don't
That's
even know what that
fascinating, yeah.
means. They don't even know
Yeah.
like yes, kids are still getting bullied for being different, but nerdiness is not. I feel like that doesn't come up. It's more still as always physical appearance, someone looking different. Like
Yeah.
we were all awkward.
Right.
Like at a certain point, your teeth were too big for your face. Like
Yep.
it's gonna happen,
Yep.
and so
Yep.
because your teeth are terrible,
Some
we're
things
gonna make
never
fun of your
change.
teeth. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's never
Yeah.
gonna change. But being a nerd,
Wow.
nerddom
Yeah.
is sort of cool now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, here we are.
And here we are. I watched this news report on a Star Trek convention in Minneapolis in 1997, I think, or 6. Anyway, it popped up on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh, this will be fascinating." And first of all, I mean, it's a news story on a Star Trek convention, so they're going to seek out the weirdest people possible to get on camera. But everybody there was so awkward, and you could tell, especially people in the background when they saw the cameras, like did not want to be filmed. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm at a Star Trek convention. You know what I mean? Like there was like
I
people kind of
don't
covering
want
their faces.
I
Yeah,
don't want a record of this.
right.
I
And
don't want people to know that
Yeah.
I'm here.
yeah. And I feel like that doesn't happen now. I feel like everybody's so proud of their cosplay or whatever. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Like
Oh, for sure.
they're yeah, it was fascinating how much it's changed. Also, this maybe it was like 94. Anyway, it was at the height of the creation conventions, and it had one of the creation guys on there, and he was like, well, we have 6 conventions happening this weekend in various cities, and I'm like, oh God, those were the days. These little local conventions and happening in multiple cities. It just doesn't happen anymore.
Do you think it's
But
money or not people being able to come?
I don't think it's money. I think it's the internet. I think that you used to have to go to a convention to connect with other people. And in fact, there was one guy wearing this Romulan uniform that he'd made, and he said that he tried to make the strap in the front as accurate as possible. He was like, but it's hard to find good images of what this uniform should look like because I pause. You know what I mean? It's like it's the world before the internet.
Yeah, you
like-
record it, you pause it, like when we put
And
cassette
everything's,
tapes
like,
in, yeah,
fuzzy.
shaky, yeah.
Yeah. So it was, I think, a way for fans to connect that the internet kind of replaced.
Yeah.
On that scale,
Hmm.
which is kind of sad.
It is kind of sad. It is kind of sad.
But the internet also brings gifts like this wonderful podcast.
That's true.
Indeed. Indeed. And also the internet brings images from all of these conventions that sure you may have to travel to get to them, but
Yeah,
they're alive and well.
they are.
Mhm.
They are. They're bigger and fewer. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's the other thing. Like the
Right.
conventions that happen now are much larger than
Mhm.
back in the day. I mean, there were big ones, but like, now it's like there's a handful of giant conventions. And more diversity in the conventions, with topics, um, sci-fi conventions, Comic Cons, where it's not just one universe. It's like lots of things, which is fun.
Comic-Con is huge.
Yeah, huge, 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 huge. Anyway, well, we have definitely veered off topic. But do we
We've rolled
have
it
any
back.
final hopes for the Starfleet Academy show before it comes out? Hopefully next year.
I don't know. I just hope it's good. I always hope it's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's okay for it to be different. Different is great. Like, shake it up. Why not? Just be good. Don't suck.
Just be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Amen.
feel like you know what's interesting? I feel like our soon to be released episode with our guest, when I asked the question of like liking the new Star Trek iteration, being like,
Mhm.
no, I wanted to hold true to the essence of, the original meaning of Star Trek.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
can understand that thread, and I think that this being new is going to challenge some people. But if they do hold on to, like, I guess we'll say, like, the core nugget, the seed of what Star Trek is about, boldly going, learning new things, encountering different people. I'm using people
Mhm.
loosely, and learning from them. I feel like it's going to be a win. Like, not trying to reinvent the wheel, as it were,
Yeah.
not trying to like make it so new that it's no longer Star Trek. And I don't think anything that they've recently put out does that.
No.
Honestly, like, I think that it all holds that kernel of why we all love it. And you just had, like me, I had to get over some awkwardness in the beginning. Be like, oh, motley crew, as you say, coming together to help each other get to the next level. And
Yeah.
so I think it's going to be good. I'm going to give it the same chance that I give every new Star Trek thing. And my rule: more Star Trek all the time.
Yes.
I like that role. I like that role.
I hope it has a real rewatchability. I think some of the newer shows, um, I I don't like. I don't know. I don't rewatch Discovery. I just don't. And when I sit down to watch Star Trek, and again, it's nostalgia, so I end up watching something from 30 years ago because like it's like comfort food,
Mm-hmm.
and I want new Trek to be comfort food for someone else. Um,
Yeah,
you know.
that's a very good way to say that.
And I hope that Star Trek Academy, Star Trek Starfleet Academy, whatever, however they're going to title it,
Cadet school.
does that. Cadet School satisfies that.
Well, and I think I would uh, take that to Strange New Worlds. That point,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that there are some episodes that are challenging
Sure.
and that are not that are like pushing the boundaries of what we think Star Trek is, but they're also giving us comfort food episodes in there as well. And I think that um, I think it's possible to do both, and I think that would be the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's structured in a way that you can skip episodes and not like be lost completely,
Yeah.
especially in a rewatch.
And I feel like that is the model for serialization that we're moving towards with Star Trek.
I
Is the
agree.
Strange New Worlds
More
is where they're
standalone.
standalone stories, but that the character growth at the end of the episode sticks. There's not a reset every week.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Which sometimes, like Next Generation was sometimes guilty of. Original
Oh,
Star Trek
yeah.
was guilty of that for sure.
Right. I mean, poor Captain Picard is zapped by a probe and lives a whole other life. And then, like, it's barely brought up, like, except for the flute,
The flute episode,
like, come on. Like, he should have been in like total like, he should not have still been captain of the Enterprise
Yeah, he
the
needed
next
a
day
little leave
after that.
moment. Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
Or maybe he was good. He is
Maybe.
strong. He is strong like bull. He can handle anything.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I think we can wrap this one up. Thank you all so much for this enlightening conversation about cadet school, and our thoughts on the coming episodes. I'm so glad that we got together to do this. Thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a 5-star review where you get your podcast. You can find us at Hailing Freak Open wherever you want. We're everywhere. And until next time, Hailing Frequencies closed.
No goodbyes. Just good memories. Hailing Frequencies closed, sir.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm
Reading and
I
thinking.
really will edit this out.
No, this is
Keep
the
it in.
part.
Keep
this
it.
is the part where we
No.
love. Yes, where we get to think and
It
be like, oh,
humanizes us.
It
It
really
you know,
humanizes us.
Like we
it
need
humanizes
humanizing.
us.
Right? Like we
Listen,
need to be brought
it's
down a peg.
podcast hosts. They're just like us.
just like us. See stars. They get their groceries delivered.